Welcome to the Weekend Focus that comes to you on every Sunday, 9 p.m. My name is John Matava. Many thanks for joining us from wherever you're watching from. And of course, you can engage us on our socials at Lookuptv. Let us know where you're watching from. And of course, I will be sampling some of your comments as we continue with the discussion tonight, all about the flood mitigation in the country with the rising cases of death as well. And with me in studio is John Ruth Kamiri, who is a governance expert. Many thanks for making time.
Thank you very much, Mr. John, for having me.
Great.
Here at Lookuptv.
All right, thank you so much. And of course, we'll be coming to you to talk about some of the mitigation measures the country has been able to make and what efforts maybe could avert more death in the country. And of course, let me just give some figures according to the government spokesperson, Isaac Mwaura, on what we have currently as the nation. 9 people have been reported dead due to the floods in the last 24 hours, now bringing the toll to 228. And that is according to the government spokesperson, Isaac Mwaura. Now, the death toll from the Maimayu tragedy that has hit 58 people after more bodies were recovered along the flood pathway as the exercise continues with the KDF officers in conjunction with the ambulance, that is the St. John's ambulance. And now 32 people were still missing. That is as the search was widened and in the neighboring villages and dams where the floods swept the victims, that is in Maimayu. In a statement on Sunday, May 5th, 2024, Mwaura revealed that 72 people are currently missing, and a cumulative of 164 people as well have been reported injured. And now a total of 42,526 households have been displaced by the floods in the country, affecting approximately 212,000, that is 630 people, with 138 camps set up across 18 counties, hosting 62,061 people. And of course, following a nationwide assessment of all dams, 192 dams have been identified to be at high risk. That is, looking at the central, we have 60 dams. Eastern part of the country, we have 39. Rift Valley, we have 29. And the coast region, we have 22. The western part of Kenya, we have 21. And Nairobi, we have 12. And the northeastern part of Kenya, we have 5. And Nyanza, 4. Also, the beach activities, fishing, the swimming, and the non-essential transport along the coast region shoreline in Kwale, Mombasa, Kilifi, and Lamu counties has been suspended. That is effective from May 4th until Monday, May 6th, and of course due to the ongoing cyclone that is Idayam. The tropical cyclone that was expected to be hitting the coastline has been awakened, and the Met Department says that as much as it has been transferred to other places, the rains are still going to be affected in Mombasa County. And of course, let me switch over to John Ruth Kamiri, our governance expert, and of course talk to us about the government. The government has launched a lot of mitigation measures in the country with the donations, food donations, and non-essential foods. Do you think the current happenings and what we experience is we are on the right track?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. John, for that question. First and foremost, let me send my sympathy and heartfelt condolences to the family who have lost their loved ones. I know it's something they were not expecting. It's very sad in such a moment, because you have seen what is happening in our country. I think the other day I just looked that such experience we are having, the last time it happened, it was back in 1973.
Yes.
And if you recall very well, last year when Meteorological Department, they had raised an issue, said there would be an El Nino. Yeah. But people, they took it as a joke.
For
now
granted,
you can, yes, for granted. Yeah. Now you can see what is happening. So for those who are affected, may God comfort them during this difficult moment. And even those who are displaced, I hope God will come through for them, because I'm a Christian and I do believe God will make a way for them. Yeah. Now, in the question of government, now the measures they are put in place, I would say first I would appreciate His Excellency, the President William Samoei RUTO, because he has given the flood crisis as a first priority.
Yep.
You saw he called an emergency meeting with the executive, and they discussed a lot of things in regards to that.
Yep.
And so far I would say they are doing good, but also I would urge Kenyans, there is part and parcel that you're supposed to take. That is what you call self-accountability. Because such a thing, it's a natural disaster. I mean, it's a national disaster.
Yeah.
And nobody expected such a thing. Even if we had a clue that such a thing can happen, but we were not sure about it. So it's something that has come as an emergency factor.
Yep.
And therefore, Kenyans also need to be very careful. And government need to work in collaboration with both national and county governments.
Yeah.
Both national and local leaders. They should work hard in order to ensure that they address the issue. So far, they said they'll provide food for those who have been displaced.
Yeah.
They will also try as much as they can to evacuate those people who are the areas that are likelihood of being affected by the ongoing rain. And those who lost their loved one, they say they will stand with them during this during this difficult moment.
Yeah.
So it's my expectation that the way or the manner in which the government is taking this flood crisis and the measure they are put in place, it will come to an end, and I hope the Kenyans will continue being cautious, and especially this time.
Great.
Yes.
Just reading a certain comment, as somebody says, rains are innocent, and could we say that we are all guilty of defying the nature?
You know, sometimes when I think, the ongoing rain, nobody expected such a thing would happen. Yeah. I remember last year when, meteorological department, they said there would be El Nino, and everybody argued about it. Yeah. I would say, let's hope for the best, because in such a place, as long as now we are aware what can happen in the coming days, and the ongoing experiences we're having, people should be very careful about that. So I would say, probably there is no, let me say, so far so good. And I hope the government will do its best to ensure that they address the issue of flood crisis in Kenya. But I think no one should be blamed for that. God's action cannot be subjected to question. So what we need to do just to be careful and pray God that we'll try to limit the rain so that we can be able to handle and even live with it. Yes.
Great. You mentioned something to do with the evacuation and the flood victims getting the donations. And President William RUTO says the affordable housing, the project will be used to settle the victims. So far, how are we on that?
I would say I'm a very supporter of this government. But sometimes they try to, I'm sorry to say so, but I think sometimes they try to complicate things because up to date, we have never really understand the nature in which they're going to issue those houses. The affordable housing has never been clear to the members of the public. That is Kenyans, in other words. So trying to tell Kenyans that the people who have been affected by floods, they're going to be now given a priority when it comes to affordable housing, then there are a lot of things need to be considered. Which measures are they going to consider? How are they going to do it? There are so many questions that need to be answered in regards to that. So for me, I think, he's the President of the Republic of Kenya, and he has been mandated. He's in charge of everything in this country in terms of running the affairs of this country. And when he says that, it's my hope that whatever he's saying, he will implement. Yes. But again, he has to come up with a mechanism, or maybe he shows a clear way on how he's going to implement that. And if it can be possible, as he says, because I will buy his words, whatever he promised, that those who have been displaced, they will be settled in those affordable housing, then I'm cool with that. But I'm looking forward to see that. However, there are a lot of things need to be done. Apart from those affordable housing, what else can they do? We have county government and we have a national government. I think they should come up with, because I saw today he said, yesterday he said, Treasury will set aside a certain fund for specific flood crisis. I'm hoping that will be part of making sure that they place them in a better and a safe place. Yes, as the wait for that affordable housing is talking about. I'm very optimistic about that, and I hope it will work.
You mentioned about the kitty that has been set aside for the flood crisis, and then I'm wondering, in as much as we're having some counties being really affected, there's a common mwananchi in a certain place where they really don't know how that's gonna work. So what's the strategy to go all about that?
I think the moment we introduced our new constitution, I would call it new, but it's old now. Yeah. It's almost a decade now. It's past decade, that is, because we started working with it from 2010.
Sure.
Now, my point is this. The county government, they need to come up with their own strategies on how to address the issue of flood. In as much as it's a national disaster, but I think county governments, they should come up with their strategies on how to address the issue of floods. I saw the most affected counties, the likes of Homa Bay, and of course, you know, because of
Nairobi.
Yes, Nairobi County, here in Nairobi County, it's one of the most affected counties. I think county government, they should also sit down, come up with a mechanism on how they can address that issue. And something I've observed about the county government, even them, they're looking for they're looking for national government. All of them, they're looking forward to the relevant ministry for that, which is wrong, because they should, the county assembly should have an emergency fund, which was set aside for in case such an emergency comes or occurs, they should try to address that using that fund. So I think our county government, they need to be serious, and in case they feel, or they come to a point they feel they cannot fully able to address the issue of flood, they can now deploy the national government. They can seek for help, but as of now, the county government need to be serious. They need to work with Kenyans. And also I think we do have well-wishers, that is NGOs. They should come on board in such a time. Because for now it's not about who is going to flood or who is not going to flood. For now we are trying to rescue lives of people. We are trying to ensure that we are not losing more lives. And therefore I think county government and the well-wishers, when I talk about well-wishers, I'm talking about, that is NGO and government organization that can, and even well-wishers, we have billionaires in this country. We have rich people who can help in such a crisis. So it's my expectation, it is my expectation, and I'm looking forward, the county government also come up in addressing the issue of floods by their own mechanism, without depending so much on the national government. Because again, it might take time for national government to come down there to the local mwananchi, but county governments become very easy for them to get them and also help them.
Great. So far 1,967 schools have been affected countrywide. And now with the recent announcement, that is the State of a Nation addressed by President William RUTO, he suspended the school reopening until further notice. But this continues to affect our learners at home. So what could be the impact of that?
I think, yes, we agree that our learners are being affected because we did not have expectation, or we did not expect the schools are going to be closed in such a time. Everybody had been prepared to take their children back to school. But as I said, this is something that nobody expected. It's like COVID, the way it came. Nobody knew the impact it would have. But as the way things are going, I prefer our learners to be at home.
What do you tell them?
Yes, I would advise them. Let them stay at home. Instead of going to school, then you receive a call being told, you know, 1 or 2 things happened due to floods that are ongoing in this country. So I prefer them to stay at home until now we are 100% sure, or maybe we are a bit convinced enough that the government has played, or even the nature of the weather, it's favorable for them to be in school. So for now, I feel, yes, the government did the right decision, because we don't want to lose our children, our students in school. You know, you can live for long, but it's not a must for you to have education. Education is important. I'm not ignoring the fact that education is very important, but at the same time, I think lives are important. So for now, let's work with what we have. If the government feels, based on the statistics, based on the analysis that has been done, is not good for them to be in school, let them stay at home until now the weather become favorable for them to be at school. Yes, but I feel the government is doing so far the nice thing, and I'm looking forward to see how things will unfold as time goes by. But I'm very optimistic, as I said earlier, that this climate will be favorable for them so that they can continue their studies, and also even the normal affairs of this country can be able to run normally.
The flood crisis in the country is not an event that is happening now. It's been occurring quite a long time. What exactly can we learn from the past events?
I think now we should not. If you remember, when I was starting my statement, I said meteorological department. There's a time they raised an issue, and we took advantage of that because they made a lot of memes online. It was going viral because it was a bit sunny. I would say that we should. The
president made some jokes about it.
Even deputy president called in charge of the leader of that department, and he called him. He told him, tell people that there is no El Nino.
Yeah.
And now you see what's happening.
Yeah.
So I think, one, we need not to ignore the relevant departments that are mandated to execute a certain thing, because that tells you we ignored meteorological department because they had warned us from the word go, and we took that for granted. Otherwise, if you took it seriously, we would have been prepared, and the things we are going through right now, maybe would have dealt with them a bit differently. Now, as a country, we need to be very careful in such a scenario. And I think this is the second event we're having from COVID. COVID came the same way, unexpected, and it costed a lot of lives. And now this is floods. So far, I've heard you talking about 200 and something people who have lost their lives in the regards to the same. So I think government need to come up with a strategy, even if it's a board is going to be formed, an emergency response committee that will be existing, whether there is a crisis or not, so that in any circumstance or in any scenario where there is such a situation or maybe such a thing that is happening in our country, they can be able to address. Because now I've noticed something about our government. They usually come on board when there is a problem. Now that is when everybody is rushing. Oh, there is floods. People are losing their lives. So we should be prepared in advance so that we can avoid the things that are happening now or taking place. Yes.
Great. And then we've been having some cases of interior CS Kithure Kindiki warned those crossing rivers, and then we've been seeing some people from Makueni County, and then other counties actually daring the rivers and then actually getting an impact of the same. So could we say it's some ignorance, or what is it exactly?
I think when I was sitting, and I said it's about self-accountability. In as much as government is putting funds, they're trying to make sure that they look where they can place those people who have been displaced. They're providing medicines, but also it's about us. Because I think Kenyans, they are sometimes, in as much as we want to be helped, it's become very difficult for us to be helped. The other day I was going through TikTok. You know, I'm a content creator, and as much as I do other things, I do go through online. I'm a content creator. I went through TikTok and I saw a certain guy dancing. And the water was just flowing around there. There was a flood around him. I was very shocked to see that he's trying to look for likes and followers in the expense of such a flood that is taking place in, you know. So we have a lot of jokers, and I think we need to have what you call self-accountability. We need to take care of ourselves. You don't need to wait government to do something so that something bad might not happen. Even us as Kenyans, we need to take that responsibility and be careful. Yes, be your brother's keeper. If you see something that is happening to your neighbor that is not good, try to address it. If you see someone trying to do something wrong, don't make fun out of him. Such people, they need to be arrested because they might not need themselves, but we need them.
That's true.
And you know, when someone die, I keep telling people that when you die, of course we'll not be there, but us will. You will leave us with pain. The impact will, we are the one who is going to be affected by your death. So we are very sensitive on such a thing. So I would urge Kenyans, my fellow Kenyans, let us be careful. Let us be very sensitive in such a time. In as much as government is doing its best, but also we should be accountable for our own lives. Yes.
Now, how do we incorporate the climate change projections into the flood mitigation plans?
I think now how we need to address that issue is by putting the relevant measures into action. We should not be people of talking much. Action should speak louder than words, because something I've noticed about, I would say our government, sometimes our leaders, they talk much. When you talk about climate, I think Kenyans need to, but of course, President has been ambassador of planting trees. We should plant more trees. And also, I think some things you can't control. Like this one, I don't think it's an issue of trees or not. I think the problem is something that we were not expecting. So for us, we need to be ready. And as I've said, that Kenyans need to be ready anytime anything can happen. We should also have the Ministry of Environment should come on board and come up with measures, come up with ideas and strategies on how to address such that can address such issue that is happening. They should come and be on forefront to educate all advocate to Kenyans on what to do and give us the next direction.
Yeah.
Yes, because they have been mandated for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Now, recently we had the CS for Agriculture, that is Mithika Linturi, was arrested in regard to the ongoing fake fertilizer scandal. From where you sit, do you think as a country and the farmers and all that, we are food secure?
I don't know what's happened in the Ministry of Agriculture. From the Moise era, we came to Kibaki, now it's another, we came to Uhuru, now it's William Ruto's term. Yeah. The Minister of Agriculture needs someone who is competent. And when I say that, I don't mean that Mithika Linturi is not competent for that position.
Okay.
But again, his actions speak totally different.
Yes.
Mithika Linturi, I remember when he was vetted, he had that 5 cases pending that were ongoing. But the National Assembly, they went ahead and approved him. Yeah. Now again, this is an issue of fake fertilizer. We need to be very careful with our food security in this country.
Yes.
And what I'm seeing in the Ministry of Agriculture, it's something that need to be taken seriously.
Yes.
I've seen this game of hide and seek, whereby the Mithika Linturi arrested, and the next minute I saw him in the State House. Yeah. So I don't really understand what's going on. Yeah. But that tells you the incompetent services we're having in the Ministry of Agriculture. Because when you talk about fake fertilizer, leave alone even the funds or the money, we're talking about the safety of our people. Yes. If now we try to import such a fertilizer in our country, what does that tell you? We'll have a food crisis. Yes. Leave alone now we're talking about floods. Now the next time we'll talk about food. That's true. That is not good for our people. I think the Director of Public Prosecution, I trust him. I trust the the department. I hope they'll do a thorough investigation about the same. I hope they're not playing us game. They tell us today, we are doing investigation. Mithika Linturi is going to be accountable. Whoever is responsible for fake fertilizer in Kenya is going to be accountable. Yes. And also, I'm very happy to see that members of parliament, this time legislature, they never, based on, what I've observed in our country, exactly most of the CSs, they are saved by members of parliament because they come from the same political parties. But this time, it was beyond that. They showed a certain level of integrity in our National Assembly. And therefore, I hope even the committee that was formed by National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, Moses Wetangula formed a committee of 11 members to investigate Mithika Linturi about the scan of fake fertilizer. He gave them 10 days. And therefore, we are waiting. And I hope they're going to do a very good job because we are very anxious about that to see. So that it can, and I hope that committee will not be used to sanitize Mithika Linturi. If indeed he has committed a sin, or he has done anything to do with fake fertilizer. Yes, if he has done anything to do with fake fertilizer, he should be held accountable. He should he should go aside. He first wait until the investigation is done, and then he come on board. So let's for that wait for it. If it's true, he has done that. And again, if it's not true, I hope he'll continue doing a good job in his ministry.
Great, thank you so much on that. Now, just crossing over about the azimio has slumped the government about the unpreparedness of the floods in the country. And then at the same time, the government still supports the same leader to clinch the AUC job. What's the difference, the back and forth?
I told you government, it's about personal interest. An opposition, they're trying to show that they're taking their part in opposition side. But actions speak totally different from what they're saying. Yes. Well, I agree in terms of preparedness. I would say yes, the government was not ready for it because based on what they had said previously, we saw even Deputy President calling a press for the same, saying there is no El Nino, there is no flood, there would be no such heavy rainfall. But again, it's completely different because nature has shown a different thing. I want to say this, opposition, if they're genuine about what they're saying,
they're doing the job.
Yes, if they're doing, like what they're saying, it's true, that the government is not doing whatever they're supposed to do, then they should push that until the government do what's supposed to do. Yes. But again, on the other side, the opposition leader, Raila Odinga, is looking forward to become the next chairperson of that is Africa Union Commission.
Yeah.
And by the way, I wish him all the very best.
Yes.
He's qualified. Raila Odinga, he has a wealth of experience.
Yes.
And therefore, it's someone we can trust with our continent.
That's
he is
true.
An Africanist. But I feel there should be no political game here.
Yep.
Let's trust that the government, whatever they promised. Yes, the opposition, they have said the government has not, they were not prepared for such a crisis that is taking place. But again, we have seen president reacting on it. So we hope we give him time, whatever he said, and we see how they're going to implement. In case they fail, then we'll come up and say that the government has unable to do what they promised people, or they promised to address the issue of floods. On Raila Odinga, I hope he's going to clinch that position.
Great.
I wish him I wish him all the very best. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much on that, and really sharing some insights on that. Just because of time, what's your parting shot?
My parting shot is just to tell Kenyans to be careful in such time. We should not take life for granted. People should be brother's keeper, because in such a time, that is when you are going through a lot. Because people need to be very careful. So for mine, I will tell people to be careful, and especially this time we are going through a serious flood in our country, and people should help those in dire need of help.
All right, thank you so much. Maybe just give an highlight of the recap on the flood, ongoing death and cases. 9 people have been reported dead due to the floods in the last 24 hours, bringing the toll to 228, and that is according to the government spokesperson Isaac Maura. Now the death toll from Mayu tragedy has hit 58 people after more bodies were recovered. And of course, we continue giving you an update on the ongoing floods crisis in the country. Thank you so much for watching, and those that made these discussion a success, we are saying thank you. Of course, I'll have some time to look at your comments, but next time. My name is John Matava. Please do have a very fantastic new week.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542 or send us an email to info@lookuptv.co.ke.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through